and welcome to Reliving My Youth. My name is Noel Fogelman. My guest this week is Geri Jewell, the actor, author, and comedian, probably best known for portraying Cousin Geri on The Facts of Life. She played the role for 12 episodes. We discuss why it was only 12 episodes and which cast member she just had a reunion with. She's out now with her latest book, Geri's Jewels and Gems. It's a coffee table book which features collections of her columns that she wrote for Ability magazine over 6 years. It also has photos from Geri's life. It's a fantastic read. I highly recommend it. She's actually doing a book signing at the Barnes & Noble at the Grove in LA on the 7th of August. Everyone, please check it out. We also know Geri for her role as Jewel on HBO's Deadwood. It was fantastic. Her interactions with the owl, played by the great Ian McShane, were legendary. We also discuss the faithful trip to the pharmacy that actually got her the role. We also discuss how she murdered Big Bird on Sesame Street. Don't worry, it didn't make air. We also discuss playing mixed doubles tennis with John McEnroe and Arthur Ashe on ABC's A Wide World of Sports, her trip to the White House. She has led a very interesting life, and I really hope you enjoy my conversation with Geri. So, Geri, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Yeah, so your latest book, Geri's Jewels and Gems, which I absolutely love. I got an advanced copy. It's a coffee table book that features collections of your articles from Ability magazine. I got a PDF file with reading it, so it's kind of hard to put a PDF file on a coffee table. So I'll have to print out all the copies and put it all in there, or I'll just buy a copy on, in Barnes and Noble, and I'm sure it's going to be on Amazon as well, right?
Yeah, both.
Yeah. So what was like the inspiration for you to combine all these articles into one book?
Well, I think there were two things going on. Number one, it was 2020, and we were battling COVID and lockdown, and everybody was like fearful and isolated. And also, I was going through my sister's death in 2017. And I think a lot of my love for my sister comes through in this book also.
Yeah.
I, I wanted to inspire people, to give people hope, to make people laugh, to make people think without having to go on stage and doing it. So I approached Ability Magazine and asked Chuck Cooper if I could use my columns in a coffee table book, and he said, yes, of course, as long as you give Ability Magazine credit. And absolutely, it's a great magazine. In fact, it's still available online.
Yeah, it's amazing what technology is now, because I always love magazines and actually sitting and holding it and reading it. Now, like everything, is just online. It's easier, but I miss the actual physical copy of that.
Everything's online these days.
Yeah, absolutely. And the foreword of the book was written by the legendary Norman Lear, creator of Facts of Life, among other shows as well, All in the Family, Jeffersons. I mean, the list goes on and on. And he wrote the foreword at 101 years old, which is amazing. How did you get him to write it for you?
Well, Norman and I were very close. We talked all the time. In fact, we FaceTimed a lot. And he always called me to check up on me to see how I was doing. So he was like a surrogate dad in a way, if that makes any sense.
Oh, absolutely.
And I called him up and I said, Norman, I have a new book I want to show you. And he said, well, come on over to the house and show it to me. So I drove over to his house and I said, Norman, I know you're busy. I know I know you have a lot on your plate, But I was wondering if you would write the foreword for my book. It's a coffee table book. And he said, but what if they don't have a coffee table? Then what? And I said, I'm sure they'll find a place for it, Norman.
Yeah.
So that was the last gift that Norman gave me, was that forward. 2 weeks later, he delivered it.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. And I know how important he was in your life and your career as well. How did he find you?
I started doing stand-up comedy in 1978 at the Comedy Store in Hollywood, and Fernfield had heard about me, and she was producing the second annual Media Access Awards. In fact, this year, the Media Access Awards got their first Emmy. So, wow, we've come a long way.
Right.
And she asked me to perform at the second annual one. And Norman Lear and Charlotte Ray was in my audience
Hmm.
that night. And Norman came up to me after the show and introduced himself. And he said, you know, you're real funny, kid, but you're way before your time. I said, so wait a couple months. And basically, he did. 2 months later, he cast me as Blair's cousin on Back to Life.
Was that your first acting gig, that show?
No, 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 no. It was my first highly visible acting gig. But I think The Righteous Apples on
Okay.
PBS I did before that. And I was also in a Cheech and Chong film that I filmed in 1979. And unfortunately, I was cut out, but I worked 3 weeks on the film and I got my SAG card.
Oh, great.
Cheech and Chong film. Nice dreams it was.
Okay. Yeah. What was your first like impression, like just being on a TV set or a movie set? Like, were you intimidated? Or, like, how was that different from like stand up for you?
Well, it was surreal to be on a television show and then to sit with your parents and your sister and watch it from the living room. It was just surreal. It was amazing. And to be recognized, I've been stared at my whole life for one reason or another. So people staring at me was nothing new. There was
Right.
just more of it.
Yeah. And like the character of Cousin Jerry was such a landmark character because it was the first time you had somebody with CP on TV, and you knocked it out of the park. You were in 12 episodes. I mean, you gelled well with the cast. What was the experience like, and why only 12 episodes?
Well, the first episode, I have to admit, was my favorite out of all of them.
Right.
And they had plans to do a spinoff for my own series. I think they were going to call it Here's Jerry.
Hmm.
And it never happened. Um, they basically, I think there was just a lot of, uh, what shall I say, a lot of wolves in sheepskin around me at that time. And my manager had stolen all my money from Facts of Life, left me with $25 in the bank.
Wow.
And there was, I, I think they didn't want, and how do I put this? Um, there were also rumors that I was gay, which was true, but I never
Right.
flaunted it. I
Right.
never, you know, without saying, "Hey, I'm gay." I never did that.
Right.
So, but I think they were fearful. I think they didn't know quite what to do with me. And so when uh, when the fifth season rolled around, they offered me one episode, and my new manager, not the one that went to prison,
Right.
but my new manager told me to reject the offer, that it was a slap in the face, that you've done so much for Fact of Life, and they've gotten so much recognition and awards for hiring someone with a disability, and now they only offer you one episode, you know? Yeah. It was hard for me to turn it down. Um, he thought they would come back with a counter offer, and they didn't.
Hmm.
They said either she takes the one episode or she walks.
Wow.
And I walked, and my manager said there wouldn't be any problem, that I could find work in a heartbeat. I didn't work for about 7 years after Back to Life.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was heartbreaking, bittersweet. It took me a while to have peace with Facts of Life and really enjoy it for uh, the gift that it was. If you know what I mean by that.
Yeah, absolutely. And like even last night, because I forgot what channel shows reruns. Your second episode was on last night, where you went out with the French teacher.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah,
was a fun episode.
yeah, that was a good one. And I saw recently you reunited with your TV cousin Blair, Lisa Welchel.
Yeah,
How was that? How close do you remain with her?
yeah, we just reunited now, and it was a beautiful reunion. We had dinner together, and it was nice. We haven't had a heart-to-heart talk in years, and actually, we ran into each other at Norman Lear's service.
Hmm.
That's how we came back together.
Were any other cast members there?
If there were, I didn't run into them. Um, it's hard for me to walk these days. Sometimes
Okay.
I use a walker, sometimes I use canes, sometimes I hang on to another human.
Whatever works, right?
Whatever works.
Yeah,
And I can't mingle. I can't walk long distances. I
okay.
can't stand for very long. So it's
Right.
hard for me to do that.
Okay.
And after I ran into Lisa, I decided, nah, it's time to go because I can't walk much further.
Right. Okay. Are you still doing your act or no?
Pardon?
Are you still doing your stand-up act?
Mm, Here and there. Um, I did a gig in Alaska in December in a chair. I can't stand up,
Right.
so I did it from a chair, which felt different. It's a different energy when you do it sitting down.
Yeah.
So I'm not I'm not there yet. I may be down the line. Depending upon how doctors
Yeah.
deal with the physical pain I'm in. If they can resolve a lot of it, then I will go back.
Right. So you transition to a sit-down comic. That's fine. I'm sure you. Yeah. I'm sure you're just as funny because your act is
Yeah,
amazing. So
but if you are familiar with my comedy, I moved a lot. I mean, I
yeah.
took over the whole stage. I ran all over the place. So it's very different for me not to have that physicality freedom. Does
Right.
that make any sense?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I
But
mean,
but I still have a sense of humor, as you can
Yeah.
tell by the
Oh,
book.
absolutely. Absolutely. It's great. And that's always the last thing to go is the sense of humor. So as long as you have that, you're in good shape. So
Well, it's survival skills. Truthfully, if we don't have a sense of humor about ourselves, we become bitter and we break.
yeah,
You you gotta laugh.
absolutely. I mean, I always say if you can't laugh at other people, who can you laugh at? Or I'm just joking. Or you can't laugh at yourself, like I always make fun of myself, and it's humor is like the best medicine.
Of course it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and every comic experiences it, like, heckling. I'm sure you have during your career. How do you conquer that, or how do you combat that?
Well, another thing that people don't know is that I have 75% hearing loss,
Okay.
and I could never wear my hearing aids in my early career, even when I was on Facts of Life, because they hadn't developed a hearing aid yet that wouldn't whistle if I moved my head from
Mhm.
6 feet.
Right.
So it was like, do I want the whistling every time I speak? Or do I just not want to hear? So I remember the LA Times doing a huge 2-page article on me in the calendar section. I mean, huge. This was at the beginning of my career, and they were saying how funny I was, how fresh I was, and new. And my God, this young girl has so much confidence. She acts like her hecklers aren't even there. I didn't even know I had any hecklers. It wasn't self-confidence. I just talked over them because I didn't know they were heckling me.
Right. That's great. Yeah. Yeah. But you also took your act to the White House and
I did.
yeah, for the first time with 1985, right? You
Yep.
Aspire 85. What was that experience like?
Well, I ended up not doing stand-up comedy because this is kind of funny in a way, but there were arguments about me appearing at the White House because because they said I was not a good role model for children with disabilities because I had said a joke on national television that was offensive. And I'll tell you the joke. I did it on a Dick Clark special. I said, you know, I'm dating this big time producer. And I told him that I didn't really have cerebral palsy, that I was just having a continuous orgasm. Funny thing is, he never knew when I was coming or going. I mean, it was innocent, it was
Right.
blue, but the White House, oh my God, she
Right.
had orgasm on television. And I don't think they like the idea of a person with a disability talking about sex, period.
Right.
Which was stupid. It was way before its time. And so what I did is I spoke for about 2 minutes and I told everybody at the White House that I thought about doing stand-up comedy.
Oh.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
But I decided to share my philosophy on life instead. And I told them basically that everybody laughed in a different way. And, you know, what may be funny to some people might not be funny to someone else, but that's the risk you take as a stand up comic. And blah, 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 blah. and I ended up getting a standing ovation for
Oh,
this.
great.
And in fact, after I gave that speech, I was asked to perform at the Kennedy Center 2 months later.
Wow, that's great. I feel now like comics have to tread lightly without offending people and getting, quote unquote canceled. Did you ever feel like you had to kind of toe the line with that?
Did I ever feel,
Like you had to like be careful what you said in your act so you wouldn't offend people.
you know, I'm a very kind comic. I don't really go after anyone in the audience.
Right,
My philosophy is you don't know what they're going through. You don't know who you're picking on. So what I do is usually make fun of myself or the human condition.
right,
But again, cerebral palsy in itself, just like Norman Lewis said, I was way before my time. Some
right.
people just weren't ready for me.
Yeah. I don't know if they're still ready for you, but you're still doing what you're doing, so it's great.
I know. I mean, here I am, what, almost 50 years later, and I've survived.
Yeah, absolutely. But someone who almost did not survive is the character on your shirt and your experience doing Sesame Street. Uh,
I,
yeah, the big birds on your shirt. Yeah, it didn't make the episode, but I guess I heard that you almost decapitated Big Bird.
oh, well, yeah, I did decapitate Big Bird. I they asked me if I had a skill that children could relate to, and I said I could roller skate. And the minute that left my lips, I thought, wow, not only do I have cerebral palsy, I have mental health issues. I mean, I did learn how to skate as a kid, but I wasn't really great at it. What I was great at was skateboarding.
Okay.
I don't know why in the world I didn't say skateboard. I was a whiz on a skateboard. But I picked skating, and Carol Spinney, who's the puppeteer inside Big Bird,
Right.
was so excited because he knew how to skate as Big Bird. So he thought it was going to be so great. Wow. Big Bird skating with Geri Jewell. I can't get better than this. And they flew me to New York. And the night before, we did the run through where they marked the stage with different color tapes and where to go to. But Wardrobe forgot my skates.
Oh,
So, so I walked to all my marks while Carol Spinney was skating, and I was just holding his hand and just saying my lines. And then the following day, they put the skates on me backstage, and they heard my cue, and they said, go to your mark. Remember it last night, go. And I came out of that stage going so fast. I guess I was showing off. And I realized I didn't know how to stop. Either I'm going to hit the camera or I'm going to go over the railing and hit these parents and their 4-year-olds, or I was going to hit Big Bird. I thought Big Bird was the safest. He's big and he has feathers.
yeah.
Yeah, it was logical. Well, I ran into Big Bird so hard his head fell off
Oh,
and it rolled across the stage. And these 4-year-olds were screaming that I killed him. I'm sure some of them are still in therapy today.
right. Yeah. But yeah, luckily the power of Big Bird prevailed and he was still entertaining us all and teaching us all, thank God. Yeah, but you were on another kid show too, which I absolutely loved, the Great Space Coaster.
Yes, I
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
truthfully, I'll be honest, I don't remember much about it. My new manager, who just took over after my other one went bye-bye,
Yeah.
and they flew me, I think it was filmed in Florida. I'm not sure, but I vaguely remember it, but when I see photos of it, oh, yeah, I do remember the Great Space
Yeah.
Coast.
Right.
And I have it on VHS tape somewhere. So I'll look at it again, jog my memory.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. I mean, not that many people still have VCRs though.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't know if Big Bird's a bigger character or John McEnroe's a bigger character. What was playing tennis with him like?
I tell you, you don't miss anything, do you?
Oh no, I told you I was a fan.
Well, they it was a fundraiser for United Cerebral Palsy, and it took place in Lake Tahoe. And it was a 3-day event. And all I did the first and second day was sign autographs, and all the other celebrities were playing sports. So I went up to the producer and I said, "Look, all I've been doing is sitting here having cerebral palsy, and I know I do that well, but I want to do something. I want to be included." And he said, "Well, what can you do?" I said, "Well, I can play tennis." "Really? Are you any good?" And I didn't want to say no.
Right.
So I said, "Yeah, yeah, I'm okay." And I thought it was going to be just a little tennis game on the side.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to be on Wide World of Sports. And I was playing doubles with John McEnroe, Arthur Ashe, and Wayne Cook.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't believe I had the guts to do that. And John and I won.
Yeah. Yeah. What was your first like interaction with John? Was that during the match or you talked with
He
him
was
before?
so nice. He
Yeah.
was so supportive of me. I mean, every time that ball came into my court and I missed it, he would he would yell, "Don't worry, Jerry, I got it."
That's great. Yeah, and like Howard Cosell gave your whole biography, and like that's amazing because he's got like the voice of God. So
Yeah, and Arthur Ashe was amazing.
yeah,
Wayne Cook had cerebral palsy also. That's why they thought it was going to be such a even keel game.
yeah,
A pro and a CP, a pro and a CP. But Wayne Cook was a dynamite tennis player.
yeah. He was really
My
good.
God, he could volley back and forth with John McEnroe for 10 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, and John wasn't taking it easy on him. Those are real hard
Oh,
serves
no,
too.
no, 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 never. They took it easy on me,
Right,
but not him.
right, yeah. But yeah, no, you can watch that clip on YouTube. It's amazing. It's yeah, it's very inspirational. And yeah, but the other role, which you're known for, which you should have won an Emmy because you were fantastic, was Jewel on Deadwood. And
Oh, thank
yeah,
you.
I love that show. It never gets enough credit. How did you get that role?
Well, a lot of people also don't know is I broke my neck in '99
Oh
from
wow.
from C1 to C7, and my neck is now 45% titanium.
Okay.
And what I do for chronic pain is get 3 vials of Botox in my neck every 3 months. And in 2003, I had to go to this yuppie puppy pharmacy in Santa Monica and pick up the Botox and deliver it to the doctor who was going to inject it in my neck. And that morning, I was in so much pain. If your pain level was 0 to 10, mine was 15. I mean, I couldn't even get dressed properly because I was in so much pain and my arms hurt. So I thought, I'll just wear my pajamas. I'll wear a big jacket over it. Nobody's going to recognize me at 8:30 in the morning. I'm standing in line, and this man turns around. He goes, "Oh my God, Geri Jewell." And I didn't even want to admit I was who I was
Right.
because I looked like shit. And he said, "I've been a fan of yours for years. You've inspired me. You've made me laugh. I love you." And I said, "Well, thank you, sir." He said, "But I haven't seen you on TV in a long time. What are you doing with your life now?" I said, "Botox." He said, "No, seriously." And I said, "Seriously, I'm doing Botox." And he said, "You want a television series?" Wait a minute. This is a pharmacy. This is in a casting office. And he said, "In case you don't recognize me, my name is David Milch." And my mouth just dropped open.
Right.
I said, "The executive producer of NYPD Blue?" He said, "Yep." And I said, "Well, Mr. Milch, I'm flattered that you love my work and that you believe in me, but let's get real. I would make a real shitty cop." He said, "No, I just signed a contract last week with HBO. I'm doing a new Western called Deadwood. You want to do a Western?" And I looked up as far as my titanium neck would let me. And I said, "God, you have a quirky sense of humor. I'm standing here with cerebral palsy and chronic pain, dependent on Botox, and David Milch wants me to ride a horse." And he asked the pharmacist for a sheet of paper, and she gave him a prescription pad for an antidepressant. So, so he wrote his phone number on a prescription for an antidepressant. And that's very symbolic because what he gave me was a series, which was an antidepressant. Yeah. And
Right.
I called him, and I was the first person cast, even
Oh,
before Ian McShane.
oh wow. Wow, that's amazing. And the relationship between you and Ian was what was great. I mean, everyone was afraid to, go against Al,
Uh,
but you had no problem putting up with his shit and taking it and giving it right back. Absolutely
no, we
did.
had such a great chemistry, but Ian in life is truly a sweetheart. And every time the director would yell cut, he would come over and hug me and say, "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say that to you.
Right.
And don't worry about it. I can handle it."
That's great. And the chemistry between you and Brad, who played Doc Cochran, was great too. And
Sure.
I always thought that maybe there would have been some sort of like romance between the two of you.
It was going to go farther. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but it didn't go as far as both Brad and I anticipated. For
Right.
whatever reason, who knows?
Yeah. Were you kind of surprised that it took so long for the movie to come out?
Not really. I mean, I knew it would be done because I knew David.
Yeah.
Um, I knew he wanted to do it, and I it was what I didn't know was that I had lower back surgery in 2018, and the surgeon told me that I would be up and about in 1 month, and that just wasn't the case. You know, cerebral palsy complicates everything. If you have any surgery, if someone without CP had the same surgery, they can overcome it in 2 months. But if you have cerebral palsy, it's going to take a hell of a lot longer.
Right.
And then I got this email saying that I was due to start filming Deadwood. And I was like, what? No. And I called the production office and I said, can I speak to David Milch? And she said, well, he's not taking any calls right now. Can I leave him a message? And I said, yes. You can tell him that I'm grateful that he offered me the role to recreate the role of Jewel for the movie. I said, but I had back surgery and I'm not healed yet. I'm a part-time wheelchair user. I'm in chronic pain. Um, so he's gonna have to find someone else to play Jewel. And she said, are you sure you want me to tell him that? And I said, yes, because I respect him and he deserves the truth. I'm not gonna lie. And he called me the next day and he said, Geri, it's David. And I said, hi, David. I got your message. And I said, yeah. And who's going to play Jewel? And he said, you are. And I said, no, you didn't get the message. No, I did get the message. But I'm going to get you a wheelchair accessible trailer. Hair and makeup is going to come to you. If there's anything physically that you cannot do in the script, we'll make script changes. And I'll even hire someone to help you to take care of you while you're on set. And
Wow.
he did all those. I mean, my God, he was so supportive. I will never forget that gift. I mean, now David gave me two gifts. He gave me the series and he gave me the movie. You know, that's amazing.
Yeah. Plus, no one could have replaced you. So,
That's what people tell me. I guess.
yeah. Yeah. Have you kept in touch with anyone from the show?
Oh yeah, I just got back from Deadwood, South Dakota, the real Deadwood.
Okay.
I went there with Keone Young and Earl Brown,
Okay.
and they opened up a new casino called Woo's Casino. So we went there and signed autographs and meet and greet and sold books, and it was a fun 3 days.
Oh, that's great. And you had some peaches too, right? Yeah. But Geri's Jewels and Gems is out now, right? Everyone can
Yes,
get it. Yeah,
yeah.
and you're doing a signing coming up next week, right?
Yes, a launch at the Barnes and Noble um, at the Grove on August 7th at 7 p.m.
Oh, that's great. Anyone in the area, please sign up. You can do it through your website, right?
Say that again.
You can sign up for the meet and greet on your website.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can go to Barnes and Noble and there's a link, and I think they're gonna charge you for a book and a reservation for space. It's filling up very fast, I heard.
Okay. Yeah, so everyone please do it quickly. And like I said before, it's a fantastic read, it's very funny, very emotional. And even if you don't have a coffee table, you can find some place to put it. Yeah.
Well, I'm delighted that you like it. That means a lot to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And your other books too are great. So everyone check them out as well. But Geri, thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it, and best of luck with this book.
Oh, absolutely. You're welcome. Have a
Yeah.
beautiful evening.
And a special thanks to Geri for joining me today. Go get her book, Geri's Jewels and Gems. It's out now and it's really good. Barnes & Noble, Amazon, wherever books are sold. Geri guest suggestion, you can hit me up on Twitter at TheFirstNoel19, or like the page Roving My Youth on Facebook. You can go to iTunes, check out all the past episodes we've had. While you're there, please rate and review the show. Don't have iTunes? Not a problem. Just on SoundCloud, Spotify, Podbean, Amazon Music, basically wherever you can find a podcast. New episode comes out soon. Stay safe, everybody. We'll see you then.